Hi, welcome again to Religion for the Rest of Us. I'm Dirk, and in this episode I will be looking at some of the questions from the first 5 episodes and the comments that have been left dealing with Bill Maher's commentary on Islam and the fallout. Some of them are quite long, so I won't read them in their entirety. If you want to go take a look, I will go episode by episode so you can go and take a look at the full context of what somebody had to say. So let's take a look at some of the comments. Episode 1, Mad Zaitier says, "Thank you for taking the time to post about such a controversial issue. You have class and sophistication. Please post more. Subscribed." Thank you, Ahmad. And I do have to say Ahmad was probably one of the first to subscribe to this channel, so I appreciate it greatly. Episode 2, Jay Wayne writes, "I've watched a couple of videos and have been thrilled in general with the way in which you've approached this subject. I am sure you probably know this, but by inference, it is somewhat of a pet peeve of mine, and I understand you are saying that Bill Maher is mad about this in general. The suggestion that Muslims are brown. For one thing, there is not a race called brown. Perhaps they are referring to skin tone. Muslims are comprised of all races. Well, I'm on it. The other thing is saying that Arabs are brown, which I've heard over and over again by the media, Hollywood types, and a lot of Arabs, which is a whole other discussion. The media, I'm sure, has the best intentions when they are doing this with their highly educated selves. They are mainly either Caucasian or white, as the US Census defines it, or black. If the media wants to designate Arabs as brown people, then they really should do it to all of the people of the Mediterranean, and that would be more historically correct. From the hue of olive or brown to the pinkish. I'd like to see someone call Al Pacino brown." Jay Wayne, I absolutely agree with you. I was being facetious, poking fun at Bill Maher when I used the term brown people. I would actually, I think, go maybe further, because I think that, at least in the United States media, there are really only 4 racial categories. There's white and there's black. I think that black people get their own special historical designation because of the history of slavery. And so there's a need to recognize, at least on some level, that we've done something wrong as white people to that particular group. Then there's East Asians, which doesn't include South Asians, and who are just generally referred to as Asian. And for some reason, they're their own category, and I'm not sure why that is. Literally just about everybody else on the planet is brown. It doesn't matter if you're Arab or Persian or Indian or from South America. You're just brown. It's something that I think is a very relevant example of the oversimplification of very complex issues that's done all the time within the mainstream news media. So thank you for pointing it out. In episode 3, Vinny and Kaushik writes, "Nicely done, keep at it. Keep up the quality of your work and you shall reach a much larger audience than you currently do. I certainly hope so. Keep sharing, subscribe, and keep leaving comments." Okay, episode 4 had a lot of comments. So first off, Thought 2007 writes, "Maybe the commentary would be more interesting if you comment on what is being said rather than what you think they think meme means. When was Richard Dawkins ever mentioned in the video?" Well, Thought 2007, it's kind of like if you mention the theory of relativity and I bring up Einstein and you say, "Wait, I wasn't talking about Einstein, I was talking about the theory of relativity." You can't bring up the word meme and not infer or imply that this is something to do with Richard Dawkins, because Richard Dawkins is the person who came up with the idea of a meme in the first place. It's his concept. In fact, I would argue that it's the key thing that he has accomplished in his life is coming up with this idea. And the idea of the meme and how it functions and how it's shifting human evolution is critical to understanding the perspective of new atheists such as Sam Harris. So it's absolutely relevant, and it's rarely spoken about. Anytime a new atheist such as Sam Harris or Richard Dawkins comes up on television, or I would say even if you're reading any of their books, they should all be read with this idea of what a meme is. It is sort of the governing theory that shapes the shift that's happened between, quote, old atheism that was just perfectly happy to believe that there's no God and go about living their lives, to this new strain of atheism, which is actively challenging religious belief. If human evolution was not being governed by means, if human evolution was simply going to carry on the genetic level, as it has for hundreds of thousands of years, there would be no need to combat religion. It would still be a genetic survival of the fittest, and that would be it. Let me back up on this a second. You have Sam Harris, you have Richard Dawkins, you have folks like this challenging and questioning religion and examining it as though, okay, if you hold this belief, it means you're going to act like this. I think it's absolutely legitimate to turn that around and say, okay, if you are a new atheist, what are the beliefs that you hold and how do we explain your behavior based on those beliefs? One of the fundamental beliefs is that it is now memes that govern human evolution. Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris are actively trying to shape the direction of human evolution based on which means are accepted and which means are rejected. It is a war of ideas, quite literally. And if certain ideas die out, then they believe humans will evolve in the direction that they think we should all go. It's really important. I'm sorry you don't find it interesting, but I'm going to keep talking about it because it's critical to understanding why Richard Dawkins behaves the way he does and why Sam Harris behaves the way he does and why so many people within the atheist community behave the way they do, whether or not they're consciously aware of this governing idea. The way that their leadership behaves governs in many ways the way that their followers behave. Even if they don't understand the underlying ideas within the atheist community's leadership, it still impacts the way that they behave. I realize I have a lot more comments to get through, and I've actually recorded responses to all of the comments from the earlier episodes that I am going to get to, but in an effort to keep things short and digestible, I'm going to cut it off here for now. Follow my Tumblr, whatiremembered.com. Find us on Facebook, Religion for the Rest of Us. Subscribe down here, and share us on your social media networks if you think anything I've said is interesting or worth sharing. I will get through the rest of these. I'm just going through the editing process now, and would like to try to keep things under 10 minutes. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.